Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you have the opportunity to join me. I'm Dr. Jan. This is Russell Institute of Learning Sidebar Education. And yes, we have been going through looking at what are the foundations of Russell Institute of Learning through the articles of John Dewey. We have taken a break and we will come back because I uploaded an article about laughter in the classroom. And there's just been some things that I have been listening to, reading, and it just is overwhelming my heart. So that in education, if you are like me, many of you who are following know that God is the center of my education practice and that I don't bite any bones about that, and everyone has the freedom of their choice, and that if they would so choose not to follow or want the services of Russell Institute of Learning or the ideas, that's fine, and I don't take offense. I'm not angry. That's where we all need to get, that everybody has their right to speak what they are standing upon. We have to have principles, and then we should be able to have discussion. Well, here's the discussion that just sort of heavy on my heart. And again, I'm not trying to make enemies or put people in camps. There is so much that I read on Facebook, LinkedIn, and where everyone wants to put their opinion, which is fine. But then they don't want to listen to somebody else's opinion or have an open discussion, because oftentimes in enlightenment, people just don't know the other side. And we make assumptions based upon the small few that we see or hear. And so here we go. We always ask ourselves, not always, and again, who's we? Oh my goodness, we can get so caught into the linguistics. Let me just say that there is an obvious disconnect of our education system with morals and values. We wonder, why are children and adults acting in such anger and bitterness and having such rage? Well, I did mention a couple of episodes ago, we've taken the, 10 Commandments and the Lord's Prayer out of school. And yet that in itself is only the tip of the iceberg. We have taken any reference to God out of our education life so that 2-3 generations, 20, 30 years, all of a sudden, I also interviewed, and I heard this and know that this was a fact. This young man said in his class, they said, anyone who does not support evolution is the enemy. And for us who would love God and have moral values, we're just like, what? How did that happen? Well, I'm telling you that I heard his name is Mario Murillo, and he has been working in California and around the United States, and I think around the world. He spends a lot of time on the college campuses, and this was the University of California. And as he's talking to these college students, they don't have a clue about God and moral value, because they are told God is dead. There is no God. You are the God, and so you need to do what you need to do to change this world. And so when we look at what's going on around us, we are battling against those or individuals who have never heard that God is love. He has come to redeem us. Love your neighbor as yourself, that he wants us to be his hands and feet and mouth on earth. Well, let's get beyond that of what I want to really let us know in education. Because if you know, in some of the episodes, I've encouraged you to know that as parents, you need to take the responsibility for the education of your children. Even if you are not the face-to-face in front of them, you need to be going into the school. You need to know what's being taught. So that as he noticed all of this going on, they've done research. And they researched 40 universities. Again, I don't have the actual study to tell you what were the 40. And again, I've also talked about in statistics and research, you can make the numbers say what you want to say. I'm telling you the information I've heard, and you can research it, and I can go do more research. But what he was saying is that out of the teachers When our children go off to college, they are being somewhat indoctrinated into the narrative of there is no God. As they did the research, 33 to 1. 33 teachers have either a there is no God or God doesn't care kind of philosophy compared to one who has a Christian background. So here's what I'm just saying, that we need to have a moral plumb line. There is absolute truth, but there is so much being taught. There is no truth. You make the truth as what you believe it to be. And so I am just encouraging us as educators, teachers, parents, administrators, let's find out what is being taught in our education system. Because as we are wanting to work at renewing education and coming up with what is the true structure of education to allow our children to be independent thinkers, to grow in a value of a good citizen and being able to love your neighbor as yourself, we have to have a moral value. Education, when we talk about a good liberal arts, is mind, body, and spirit. And so we need to make sure that what we are teaching, yes, is accurate. Can we do research to find out, yes, this is a fact, this is true. Oh, but you know what? In 19 this changed. We need to know the whole story, not the little piece that is sometimes, hey, we could only get that far in education. I know. And so you leave out. How do you choose what you leave out? And there's who has the authority are the teachers. What are we leaving out? What should we make sure we add? And so again, I know there have been a lot of people from my age up who've said, well, you know what? I'm going to leave it to my kids to decide. But if you aren't giving them all of the choices and you only give them one, they choose what's in front of them. We have been remiss. We have not given our children the option to know what is really going on and that God is real. We are created beings. He loves us and we have a choice. We need to make sure that in our education system, there is a plumb line so that as they make their decision, because that's what helped me through college and university. I know I was a minority. I always spoke up, and everything that was said and taught, I put it into the filter of God and the Bible. And hey, I'm not saying I threw everything out. It was like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, that helps me understand the Bible. And I was at least critically thinking versus just taking it all in without thought. So ladies and gentlemen, our education system needs us to step up, speak up, and become involved. We cannot allow it to be moving on. It's just doing great. No, my research has shown for the last 150 years, education really hasn't changed. We change the names, we change all of this, but we don't change anything. The actual structure has not changed, and I believe to be the best education for our students, we need to go back to the ground framework, figure out what is it that we are trying to educate our children to know and do, and then build it, as Stephen Covey would say, begin with the end in mind, and then build to get there. And not by, I passed A, B, C, and I can do this, but what can I structurally do? I can add, multiply, subtract, divide. I can do fractions. Oh, why would you need to do that? You got a calculator. Well, if you don't know how to put it in, you can't do it right, and you don't know that you made an error. So I'm just saying, read, write, critical think. Oh, hey, the jobs of our children haven't even been designed yet. So we need to design an education system that helps them to be able to critically think, research, and expand their mind and not be stuck in the past and realize they are moving forward, but they need to move forward with open eyes, open ears, and learn to communicate, but listen. Everybody should have a voice. Russell Institute of Learning, part of my research, every invested person in the process should have a voice. Everybody should be able to speak up and not feel like they're going to be intimidated or told to shut up. Now, do I have to like what you say? No. Do I have to agree with what you say? No. But if we are truly educated human beings, then we learn to get along listen and agree to disagree agreeably and figure out a new path. Then if we don't go your path and I don't go my path, then maybe there's a new path. Let's figure it out and be the adults instead of acting like 3, 5, and 7-year-olds on a playground, beating somebody up, trying to get the ball and say, well, if you don't want to play with me, then don't play at all. No, we need to play. We are humankind. Love you. I get riled up because we are doing a disservice to our children, to our communities, and to the world if we don't start speaking up, standing up, and taking responsibility for what is being said, taught, and the outcome of the education system. I'm Dr. Jan. This is Russell Institute of Learning Sidebar Education. Please like, follow, comment, and share. See you again.